It's the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to Unitas. It's the best of bias. Your best of bias. Yeah, it's the best of bias.
You are now listening to the Best of Bias podcast with Lydell, Dinero, and Hugo Twilight.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Lydell Dinero, and it's time for another episode of the Best of Bias podcast, your favorite podcast, and you ain't even got to lie about it. Welcome back. It's your boy, just me today. We talking some pop culture. I hope you guys is ready for it or are ready for it. Either way, you're going to be ready. It's the Best of Bias. Man, what we got today? First of all, I hope you guys are all doing okay mental health-wise. Let me check in with y'all. I'll give y'all time to reply. Thank you. It's good to hear. If you're down, man, I do have some books I can suggest to you. Read the two Charlemagne the God books. One is Black Privilege, A Guide to Black Mental Health. And I think the other one is what shook one, My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me. It's all about anxiety. Though you may not be Black, sometimes it does have some stuff in there to help you no matter what. Mental health is important now. You see a lot of shit in the world that could come directly, and that was caused directly from, bad mental health or just mental health issues that could have been resolved. And I hope this outlet is one to help you guys, woosah and meditate and have something to listen to get your mind off the big things in the world and just kind of relax and listen to a cool ass podcast with family, because you guys are my family, Best of Bias family. And we've been at this for 3 years now, episode 123. Man, episode 123. Thank you for being with us this long, man. I know it's been ups and downs. You saw a lot of changes. We saw this collection back here grow. For all my audio listeners, I'm pointing to my Funko Pops. I started with like 3 or 2, maybe 2 Lil Wayne ones. Those 2 in the middle there, and I just expound to all that shit back there, man. I started off in the garage, trapping with Ariel. Now I moved up into the trap room. You see our broken drawer down there, you know what I'm saying? We still trying to elevate. We still trying to, make it big out here in the podcast world. But anyways, let's get to these topics. Hope everybody's doing good ultimately. Hope you're watching these summer league basketball games, and hope everybody's getting ready for the NFL season, getting ready for that fantasy football. I know a lot of people out there are ready for fantasy football. I know the Best of Bias League, the Best of Bias Invitational last year went off smoothly. Of course, I won that thing. No cheating, you know what I'm saying? Ask everybody in the league, holla to them, shout out to them. This year's going to be bigger, better. I got a lot of stuff planned. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to you, Teo, Kyle, Yancey, Tay, Jason, Dijon, Sean, Damon, Derek, Deshaun, John. It's going down, man. We got a trophy coming for you, John, for getting last place last year. Johnny Mac, you know what I'm saying? He's been on a podcast. Y'all know who he is. He got last place. So we're going to get him a nice loser last place trophy. Regularly you'll get the first place person a trophy, to commemorate him winning the league. But I think money is good enough. I won that guap, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's good enough. John's going to get a nice shiny trophy or something embarrassing. We're lucky we didn't make him get no tattoo or nothing. But we're going to give him the trophy, and the trophy's going to be passed around from season to season. This season, we all coming together for that live draft. No excuses this time. We're going to get on there. We all going to be here picking person by person. You know how we do it. If you're part of the league, you're ready for it, get excited. $50 buy-in, and I will be reporting to the podcast every week to let you guys know who's up, who's down, who's been owing money. And we're going to get in on a DraftKings pool too. So if you guys want to get on that weekly, put some money up, whoever has the best rosters, depending on how many people we get each week, the first top 3 places can actually win some money. So it can be a side way of making some money. You know what I mean? And even if you're not in the league, you can still hop in there too. The more people, the more big the pot will be. How big the pot will be, I don't know. I'm talking mush mouth already. Sorry, it's early in the podcast. I'm already fucking up. But yeah, the pot will get bigger the more people it is. So hit me up if you're interested. You know what I'm saying? Get more people involved. I'm about it. I'm always winning anyways. If you're ready to get your money took, just hop on in. And speaking of fantasy football, man, Matthew Berry from ESPN, one of the most heralded fantasy football go-to guys each week, each Sunday. You see a show, Fantasy Football Now, before each football game, before Red Zone starts. So you know who to start. He throws out his top tens, him, Stefania, Phil Yates, and all them on ESPN bright early in the morning, letting you know what's going on. I mean, he kind of like personally helped me win a couple of leagues, man. I've won a good amount of leagues, and listening to his podcast, watching his show every morning has helped me, make last minute decisions and stuff like that. He's actually retiring from ESPN after 15 years. He's not actually retiring from broadcasting, but he's actually leaving ESPN. So actually retiring might be the wrong word, but he's leaving ESPN. I don't know if he's actually gonna go to FS1 or make those transitions like everybody else seemed to have done, but he will probably be taking that fantasy knowledge somewhere. Maybe he has his own platform, maybe somebody's giving him his own platform or his really big opportunity somewhere else for him to step down from ESPN because, they was firing everybody early. So if he had a job that long for 15 years, they must be paying him a good penny to stay there. And I mean, I guess if he's leaving now, I guess somebody was a bigger draw to get him out of there. Yeah, fantasy football is big. Betting, gambling is big. So he probably got a bag to go somewhere else because he was probably nice and cushy out there in ESPN, even though he probably had to live in Bristol, Connecticut. Shout out Connecticut, but I wouldn't, want to live there when you can live in LA and work for FS1 or some other place. You can work from your home doing some independent broadcast and making hella money from there. But that's interesting, man. I wanted to shout him out real quick before we got started. Just because, man, fantasy football is starting. I want y'all to come to the podcast for some fantasy advice. I don't think I'm a know-it-all at fantasy, but I do have opinions, and I do win a couple. I win leagues, and I win at DraftKings sometimes when I pick like daily rosters too. So I want to give my advice out. You don't have to listen. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a super expert. I'm not an expert gambler, so I wouldn't condone taking my advice and taking it to the bank, because if you lose your money, I don't want you blaming that on me. You know what I'm saying? But you can take the advice, take it as you will. I do be listening to a lot of fantasy podcasts to try to win me each week in these leagues. So yeah, if you follow the podcast, you follow the Instagram, you follow me at all, I'll give you those tips. I'll give you that help. And if you want to join a league for future leagues, we do only do 12. You don't want it to get too crazy. But people do drop out every year. So hit me up if you want to be in the fantasy league. This year we're doing 50. I know it's probably not as big as all you guys big ballers out there, probably doing $100,000, $200,000 leagues, but you know what I'm saying? Keeping it light, keeping it fun. You know what I'm saying? If you put too much money down, people are going to start getting super uptight about stuff. The fun thing about our league, though, is we're going to get everybody here and kind of agree on the rules and kind of mold the league while everybody's here. So there's no confusion, no misconceptions on what everybody's doing. Get those veto rules in place. Get something in place where people don't pay attention to their rosters and shit. So, if they do that too many times, they're going to get kicked. They're going to forfeit their money. We're going to figure out a fair way to do it, but we can't have people quitting halfway through because they think they lost when they just giving people free wins and giving people road to the championships when, people could have made the playoffs when they lost to somebody based on records and points when somebody didn't set their roster. You guys know what I mean. But we'll figure that out. Guys, in the Best of Bias Invitational 2022, last year was a success. The year before, we didn't have it officially named that, but it's the same group of guys. If you guys are out there, you guys know what's up. It's coming. Hope you guys are ready. August 27th, baby. Be ready. We drafted a little early. Not really early, but I bet people are starting a little earlier than that. But I want to give it till like a week before the actual season starts, so the 3 preseason games can come in. Y'all know how it works. So I don't want to bore you to death with that shit. But coming up next, man, I wanted to talk a little bit about the 74th annual Emmy Awards. I don't really care about the Emmy Awards really, but I watch a lot of TV shows and we review a lot of TV shows with you guys. So I wanted to be able to let you know how these TV shows actually did. You guys spend time watching them. You spend time reviewing the shows with me. So I want you guys to know how these shows are being critically acclaimed, or if they're nominated for stuff, if the people are kind of seeing the shows how we see in the shows, you know what I'm saying? But me in particular, since I'm a nerd and I be on that MCU shit heavy, I'm gonna talk about the MCU. So MCU actually has, 19 nominations this year from their TV shows that they had from Phase 4 throughout the year. Last year, they had a record-breaking year. I mean, it's their first show. They didn't really have many TV shows. They just started putting out, Marvel Studios just started putting out TV shows. So there hasn't been a long, time they've been out, but last year they had a record of WandaVision getting nominated 23 times, in which they did win 1 award. But this year they had a bunch of shows come out. 4 shows nominated. They have Moon Knight with 8 nominations, Loki with 6 nominations, including Outstanding Fantasy and Sci-Fi Costumes. What If, the animated series that we talked about a lot, um, that has 3 nominations for Emmys, including Outstanding Animated Program. Hawkeye had 2. So it was a total of 19 nominations. Me personally, I really liked Moon Knight. I think acting wise, it was phenomenal. Story wise, it was phenomenal. We didn't really get to see a lot of the Moon Knight. We talked about that a lot during the reviews and stuff, but Oscar Isaac really acted his ass off in that, and he did a lot of movies. He was in Dune. He did a lot of Star Wars stuff. So for him to, be putting together a bunch of, good acts of work, and no pun intended, and for him to go hard, like playing a bunch of different personalities in Moon Knight, I feel like he should actually win, leading actor or whatever they give for the Emmy Award for leading actor, because that man was doing his thing. I really suggest you guys watch that show if you haven't, even if you're not a Marvel head. Moon Knight's a new character, so even if you don't know the backstory, if you just watched this TV show for the first time, it's like an origin story. So, you know what I'm saying? It'll be good for you to watch. Even if you're not super deep into the MCU stuff, it'll still be dope to watch. And you know how I feel about Loki too. Loki was pretty good. Really dope concept. Had us on our toes each week. If you guys like the WandaVision, Loki should have been cake for you guys. You guys should have loved that too. Man, the association is actually speaking for it. Got nominated for 6 Emmys. Hawkeye was cool. I really liked it. It was kind of a Christmas kind of feel. I was wondering what was going to happen each week with Ronan, and if they were going to figure out, what was going on with him, and if he was going to Hawkeye was going to actually be revealed as Ronan and stuff like that. But it was kept me on my toes from week to week. So I mean, just for the Christmas and the how it was filmed, I think personally it did deserve 2 nominations there. But some other of our favorite shows that got nominated for Emmys this year, Euphoria. I know everybody watches Euphoria out there. Shout out Zendaya. She got 16. Well, Euphoria got 16 nominations. Ted Lasso, I haven't watched it yet, but I heard it was really good on Apple Plus. Got 20 nominations. Succession, 25 nominations. I believe that's on HBO. Barry definitely is on HBO. 14 nominations. I do watch that show. It's really funny. 2 seasons out now, I think maybe 3, but it's great. Squid Games, everybody watched Squid Game, I already know. That was nominated for 14 Emmys as well. And Severance was nominated for 14 as well. So that's just to name a few. And man, yeah, those shows are probably gonna win a lot of awards. I've heard a lot about those shows, and you guys probably watch a lot of those shows, but yeah, man. And if Zendaya wins Emmy this year for anything, she's going to be like the youngest actress to win back-to-back Emmys or something like that, something of that nature. I mean, it's crazy. She's in Euphoria, and she's also in the MCU in Spider-Man, technically Sony MCU type shit, but she's still in that Marvel. So she's just double dipping and doing it great, man. She's living it. She's still very young, repping the Bay Area. Super proud of that. Super proud of her. And also, if you're looking for stuff to watch, man, that's all I got for the Emmys. I'm sorry, guys. I wasn't going to stand on it for too long because I'm just letting you guys know what was happening with the MCU, and they actually getting Emmys, because when it comes to Oscars and stuff, their movies don't really get nominated that often. People don't really consider what Marvel is as like super Oscar worthy film. I don't know why. It's not my stance. I just hear that a lot in a lot of podcasts that I hear. These fools don't really see Marvel. There's superhero stuff, fantasy stuff that doesn't really take much work. I think the Academy feels like they feel like you can just throw superpowers at us and use the comic book as reference, and they'll get automatic views from the nostalgia and the Easter eggs of all the comics. You know what I'm saying? But I don't believe that. I think Marvel deserves that. And the Emmys, I think they're gonna get their just due. Their TV shows are good. You know what I mean? So I think we will get some I'm not part of. I guess I'm Team Marvel, so I guess we can say we. I can say we. We'll get some retribution in the Emmys, and they will win something. They got to, unless they're up against Euphoria and Ted Lasso or Succession with a 25 and 20 fucking nominations. Goddamn. But yeah, The Sea Beast. I did watch that on Netflix last night. It was trending #1, so I watched my little animated pieces. So I decided to give it a chance. You know what I mean? It was pretty dope. It was one of those. Well, I don't want to give it away. I want you guys to watch it first. But it was a cool movie. The animation was dope. I like the animation a lot. I like really anything with like kaiju, big ass monsters, especially from the aspect of the ocean. You know what I'm saying? They're like pirates. I guess they're sea monster hunters or some shit like that. And they just kind of roam the seas and kind of hunt and kill big ass sea monsters that attack this empire that's in power at the time. I don't really know. It's kind of like it looks kind of like a Renaissance period. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it exactly, but it's pretty interesting, man. From the animation to the violence to the kaiju. So I just like the aspect of something so huge fighting against something so little, kind of the David and Goliath complex. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just kind of dug it, but it does kind of get cliche and kind of like predictable towards the middle. And I mean, it is focused towards kids, so you can't really put it against them. But it's a cool movie. If you have family, go watch that with your kids; they'll love it. If you liked Pacific Rim, but like a kiddie version of it, I don't know. I don't know if Pacific Rim's the good ass comparison, because I don't know if everybody really liked that movie, especially the sequel. It was kind of trash. I'm not even gonna lie to you, player, but it was cool. Let's see what else we got on the board for today. Oh yeah. Also, I put a couple of things on the Instagram. I don't know if you guys are checking out the Instagram. I'm putting trailers up there. I put a lot of information and a lot of stuff that we might be talking about in the podcast up there. So be sure to check that out. And check out the SAC_Lydell page as well. A lot of updates, especially some merch updates. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to still get you some merch. I still got a lot of merch ready for y'all to come get. But yeah, check it out. Because I posted a trailer today called The Day Shift. That's with Jamie Foxx and Snoop Dogg, coming out, I believe, August 12th on Netflix. Interesting trailer. It was Jamie Foxx. He's a vampire hunter. And I'm sure this movie's gonna be rated R. They are pushing these, like when they got the big actors in these Netflix original movies, they're usually rated R and really violent, especially the action ones. And he's a vampire hunter, so you can get really creative and really kind of violent with vampires, because they usually don't really have blood. They just kind of incinerate and turn into dust when you kill them with the weapons that only can kill them. So that could be interesting to see. Him and Snoop Dogg are in it. And young Dave, well, I don't think he's young anymore. He looks young. Dave Franco is in that thing too. It looks very, very interesting. Jamie Foxx has been in a couple of movies with Netflix now, getting a lot of work. I mean, I fuck with Jamie Foxx a lot. I be watching the Jamie Foxx show all the time. And for y'all youngins who don't know, that whole Pierre, you want to come in here? That's from Jamie Foxx. If you watch the Jamie Foxx show, you'll see exactly what it is. Look that shit up, youngins, you'll know. Jamie Foxx, that's Jamie. That fool is hilarious, yo. And for him to be doing a bunch of action movies and stuff like that, I'm really impressed. He has range. He's super funny. He was on In Living Color coming up. So he used to do a bunch of sketch comedy. He can sing. Blame It on the Alcohol. I know everybody heard that song. You know what I'm saying? Youngins, check that out too if you haven't heard it. Blame It on the Yeah, everybody heard that song. Jamie been doing it for a while, and I'm sure the Netflix is pumping out millions for him to do these movies. But yeah, check that trailer out if you haven't. August 12th, that's coming out. And another movie coming out, I think might even be sooner than that. Yeah, July 22nd, the Russo brothers, who brought you a couple of our Marvel movies. I think they brought you the Russo brothers. The Guns brought you Guardians of the Galaxy. So I think the Russo brothers may have brought you, shoot, I'm not sure. But anyways, they filmed directed one of the Marvel movies. It could have been Captain America, may have been one of the Avengers. I don't really know what movie it was, but the brothers are coming out with another movie. It's kind of an action movie as well. Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans, Mr. Captain America. So, the Russo brothers are working with the, Marvel alum, you know what I'm saying, to come out with another movie. It's an action movie. Not sure the plot yet. Pretty much in the trailer I posted, they're just fighting the whole time. It might be a little case of mistaken identity. It looks like they're spies. So if I'm going to guess that they're spies. They got an assignment. One of them's going after the other one for a reason that's probably shady from the agency. They both find out the agency is shady, and they end up working together to fight against the agency, because it's Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans, and they're both usually good guys. So I'm sure these are gonna be the old flipperoo when they're gonna work together, and it's gonna fuck everything up and end up succeeding together and being friends. So you get the sequel. I know that's gonna happen. But yeah. Speaking of shows that I watched, I wanted to get into a quick The Boys and Thor Love and Thunder review. You know what I mean? I'm gonna start with The Boys. If you guys been watching The Boys, I've been reviewing it a little bit throughout the podcast. But if you watch it this season, it was a great season this season. I'm not too sure if I enjoyed the ending too much. I don't know. They do a really good job of making the villains villains. You know what I'm saying? Season 2 with Stormfront and her being like a racist Nazi type of character, and her getting over how much she got over so much in season 2, and Homelander being an asshole as well, and them being a couple, and just seeing Homelander throughout this episode and Soldier Boy throughout this I mean not this episode, this season, and seeing Soldier Boy throughout this season, it's like the assholes don't really get dealt with ever. Even A-Train, he did kind of redeem himself, but it's like, fuck, he's been an asshole this whole season. He got his brother fucked up. He kind of redeemed himself when he actually took care of Blue Hawk or whatever his name was. It was crazy because he stole his heart and was able to get his powers back from stealing his heart, if you guys saw it. It's kind of crazy in that aspect, but yeah, it was great. Just the whole storyline. How Billy Butcher, he just kind of wants to kill Homelander, actually wants to kill all superheroes, but this season he's forced to become a superhero by taking the temporary V, and how how he's going and actually thinking he's going to Russia to get a weapon that can actually finally kill Homelander, and figuring out that it's actually Soldier Boy, an actual person who has to be that weapon. And that's getting to know the backstory of Soldier Boy throughout this season, and how he's like a Captain America type character, but he's an asshole. But he's an asshole because of the backstory and how he was raised. It kind of gives you the underlying stuff and the actual visuals of the stuff that some of these Marvel movies kind of give you on surface level, but the boys are actually really able to show you the fucked up shit that actually happens in these people's lives, in these superheroes' lives and backstories. And that's crazy. The blood, the gore, the shock value, everything the boys has to offer is different than everything we're seeing now. You know what I mean? And I really enjoy it, especially this season again. There's the storylines and the whole different, all the plots that go into this season. Like again, Butcher and Huey. If you guys haven't seen it, this is not gonna go in congruent order at all. I'm gonna be all over the place with this shit. So if you guys know what I'm talking about, you know. If you haven't watched it, you need to watch the season anyway. It just ended, but I'm gonna be spoiling it. I didn't say spoiler alert before this started, but spoiler alert, motherfuckers, because I'm about to go over this shit pretty bouncing all over the place. So if you guys know this season, watch this season, you guys will be like, fuck yeah, that shit was crazy as hell. But if you guys don't, you'll be like, what? Yeah, so you can pause right now or skip ahead, rewind, listen to some shit I said before, but right now I'm getting back into it. But yeah, this season I didn't really like how Black Noir went out. In the comics, he's supposed to be one of the strongest characters under Homelander. In the comics, I guess he was a clone of Homelander, and nobody really knew because he never took off his mask, and he was put in place to be there. So if Homelander actually went crazy like he pretty much did this season, that he can be in place to take him out and just fuck him up. But this season, he was revealed to be one of the people behind helping Russia capture Soldier Boy, but Soldier Boy basically beat this man brain dead and was beating everybody's ass and threatening Black Noir. And seeing that, it's like, fuck, you felt sorry for Black Noir. And, Gunpowder, he was getting raped by Gunpowder, it sounded like. Or, well, he said it wasn't rape because it was consensual, but it was statutory rape because Gunpowder was a young boy. Yeah, but we didn't see none of that in the show, but it was all implied. They ended up consorting with each other to catch Soldier Boy, and they're all on Soldier Boy's team. So once Huey and the boys, Billy Butcher, went to go free Soldier Boy, and it was revealed that he was free. Soldier Boy had it out for everybody in his old team for getting them captured by Russia, and he killed them all one by one. And when Black Noir was left, he went to Homelander because Billy the Butcher was using Soldier Boy to try to kill Homelander. He went to Homelander to be like, hey, like we can kill Soldier Boy if we work together, because Homelander is the only one that could really, fuck Soldier Boy up, because Soldier Boy is pretty much the Homelander from before. Because we find out later that, Best of Bias listeners, again, if you saw the show, you know that we found out later that Soldier Boy is really Homelander's dad. And the only reason Homelander came to be is because Soldier Boy went all crazy and he was captured by Russia. So they needed a new superhero, Vought, which is the fucking overseeing kind of government type figure in the show. They're able to control the superheroes, and they're able to control pretty much the world. I don't know. It's kind of weird. They don't really explain that much, but yeah, they do explain, but it seems like they're presidents and it's actually the actual government as far as, yeah. But anyways, after Soldier Boy got taken by Russia, Homelander was created, but Homelander didn't know he had a father. So throughout this whole 3 seasons, he thought he was a test tube baby that was created in the lab, and he didn't have a father. And for the fact that everybody kept that from him, he was angry, and he ended up just punching Black Noir in the stomach and pulling out his guts. So we didn't really get to see how raw Black Noir really was, how powerful he really was when it came to fighting Homelander or Soldier Boy. He was just killed by a surprise attack. That was pretty weak to me. There's a lot of shit that went down. A lot of shit didn't get resolved. There will be another season. They brought Ryan, the son, back a lot into this last episode, especially the finale, because it's just kind of weird. Because, of course, you know, Billy the Butcher's wife was, I don't know if she was raped, I don't remember exactly, or if she just cheated on him and had sex with Homelander because he was a superhero in his popularity. She got pregnant, and it wasn't by Butcher. It ended up being Homelander's son. So Butcher was in a pickle because he still loved his wife and felt like she was forced to have sex with Homelander, because when it got caught on camera, when she came out of the room, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, the son is there, and he has superpowers now because he is half Homelander's son. Yeah, he comes into play in the show because we don't know if he actually really likes Homelander or if he really likes Butcher, because Butcher is his dad, kinda, and then Homelander is his dad biologically. So he doesn't really know, and he's a little kid, so he doesn't really know who to trust. But Billy the Butcher promised his wife that he would protect the little kid no matter what. And Homelander is pretty much just using the kid to get to Billy the Butcher because he doesn't really give a fuck about the kid, I'm pretty sure. He just wants something of his own or something to have that's related to him, that loves him, is probably going to try to mold the son into an evil person. And that's kind of crazy. But if you saw this season, you probably really enjoyed it like I did. It's one of my favorite shows right now. You know how I'm about the superheroes and shit like that, but this show again puts it in a whole different perspective. It's like, what if the heroes were assholes and their backstories were so fucked up, but you couldn't do shit because they're superheroes, you know what I'm saying? And they can do whatever they want because they are superheroes and ultimate, you know, in all reality. So check out the show, Amazon Prime, if you haven't. Maybe I'm spinning. Maybe they'll give you a deal if, you know, on Prime Day right now. I know they're giving a deal on Grubhub, get you some stuff. It's not an Amazon plug, you know, unless Amazon, you guys want to sponsor us, you can go ahead and throw us some dough. I'll talk about you guys every episode, you know what I'm saying? Next, let's get into the Thor Love and Thunder review, man. I know this is rapid fire. I know this is just going and going and going. I'm sorry, guys. If y'all wanted me to slow talk and a little bit more explaining, you guys got to wait till I give me a guest, man. When it's just me, you know what it is. I'm a ramble riser right now. But Thor Love and Thunder, man. I don't really know if you guys are going to like my review on this one. This movie got a lot of mixed reviews. Me personally, I'm kind of in the middle about it. I'm 50-50. I was close to calling it bad, but the action and Thor, the character itself, the comedy, the characters in it just kind of kept me there, so I can just stay in the middle, not for me calling it bad. I might give it a 7 out of 10, maybe even a 6.5. To me, it was just a lot going on. And again, we talked a little bit about Phase 4 and how it's doing right now in the public. We didn't really move the story forward of Phase 4 at all. After Loki, we thought we were going to get a lot of clues to what's going on next in the MCU and what might happen. You know what I mean? We saw Kang the Conqueror come into the story. We heard about all the different storylines and multiverses that there actually is and that could take place. We saw a little bit of the multiversal stuff in Spider-Man, but in Doctor Strange and with this movie as well, with Thor Love and Thunder, they were all kind of like standalones. We saw a little continuation of WandaVision in Doctor Strange, but then ultimately nothing really happened as far as breaking more ground in the Phase 4. I mean, we got introduced to America Chavez, but we didn't really move the story forward. We knew Doctor Strange wasn't the Sorcerer Supreme. We did get to see the Illuminati, but they got killed in the multiverse. So I guess that is kind of null and void because it's not going to count, because they're probably going to bring the Illuminati back because we know there's going to be a Fantastic Four. So everything that happened in that multiverse didn't matter. So ultimately, yeah, ultimately they just saved the universe in that movie, but nothing changed as far as the phases. And this one again was a standalone movie. We just got to see more of, I mean, Gore the God Butcher was dope. He did his thing. His name is fucking Christian Bale. Christian Bale did his thing. He acted his ass off. He was menacing. He was scary. We didn't get to see a lot of his action, a lot of his fighting. To me, I was kind of mad that, again, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, fast forward. But it'll be a week after, this drops on Friday. You guys should have seen it already. It came out last week. If you're a Marvel head, you should have seen it already. You know what I'm saying? You know what's going on. If you're not, you should have been seeing it, especially. You shouldn't wait till the weekend to see it. Go pop that. Go watch that. Because you got to listen to this for the review. But anyways, on the other side, the backstory of Gore the Butcher was good. The beginning was cool. You felt for Gore the Butcher. But then after that scene where his daughter died, and we got to see the gods and how the gods were kind of talking to him, I knew it was going to kind of get a little goofy. They made the gods kind of only care about sex and orgies pretty much and about themselves. I mean, I guess that's how it was probably in Norse mythology, Greek mythology or whatever. But man, I would like to see the gods actually have powers and shit and actually do shit rather than just stand there and just be hella tall and big. I know I like the kaijus and shit, like I said in the last about the last review, but they didn't really do nothing. I mean, we got to see Zeus do some shit, and then we got to see a whole bunch of different gods sitting around. When we actually did get to see Zeus's little arena place, I forgot exactly what it was called. But we did get to see a bunch of different gods. We saw Bao, the little dumpling king. We saw a bunch of shit, but we didn't get to see him actually do anything. You know what I mean? So the action fight scenes that we did get to see were they're cool. Every time we get to see Thor fight, it's pretty dope. We get the lightning, we get his flying effects, we get to see how strong he actually is. Stormbreaker and Mjolnir, those are really cool. We got to see Mjolnir again. Freaking Jane Foster, we got to see her again. Brought her back in the story. I did have a gripe with not being able to see the Guardians for very long. They're in the movie for 10 minutes. They teased this whole thing with them teaming up to be the Asgardians of the Galaxy or whatever. But it turns out they were just in the movie for like 5 minutes. And Thor did all the fighting at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? He took out everybody. You saw Star-Lord do like 2 things, and they had like conversation with Thor. And they dropped his ass off and just took off. You know what I mean? After they saw that Gore the Butcher was out there and almost killed Freya or whatever. I forgot what her name was. I'm forgetting everything right now. But anyways, after he saw she was in trouble, he went out to her and, heard about Gore the God Butcher. And they had a funny scene there when she was dying. She was like, yeah, I'm going to Valhalla. And she was like, Thor was like, you have to die in battle to actually go to Valhalla. You actually survive. So your arm might go to Valhalla because it got cut off in battle, but you're not going right now. And she was like, damn. But yeah, that was a cool scene. But yeah, it was mostly comedy. Thor, I like the comedy. Taika Waititi, he does a good job with the comedy, but sometimes he does carry it on a little too much. I like the goats at the beginning, the screaming goats, but I watched that shit in IMAX. So hearing those screaming goats 1,017 times, screaming and breaking through glass, screaming, that shit was hella annoying. But it was a fun movie, man. I can't be mad at it. Chris Hemsworth did his thing. It is kind of interesting that Love, Gore the Butcher's daughter at the end, was actually Chris Hemsworth. It was actually his daughter. So yeah, it's interesting that I heard a lot of the kids of the actors were in the movie as extras because as you guys know, the kids were kidnapped in the movie, and that was kind of the whole premise. They were trying to get the kids back, and Gore the Butcher was just trying to get Thor to get to the kids in the Shadow Realm so he can unlock the gate to eternity with Stormbreaker and the Bifrost and shit like that. But it was cool to see eternity because I was watching, we do those anime kumetes and we're looking for characters to fight each other. And I did see eternity on the Marvel scale, and he's like one of the most powerful people in all of Marvel. And obviously he's able to grant wishes to bring people back to life and shit. You got to be pretty powerful to do that shit. But yeah, it's cool to see him actually in the movie. But yeah, if you read the Jane Foster Lady Thor magazine comic book, you kind of knew her storyline. Jane had cancer, and she was called to by Milner to come find her. And in New Asgard, I guess they had a display of Milner from when Hela broke that shit when she caught it, and it was all in little pieces. And we saw a flashback that I guess Thor enchanted Milner to protect Jane no matter what. So while she was dying from chemo, or she's doing chemo, and she was trying to figure out ways that she can get better, Milner called to her. She went to New Asgard, and as she was viewing the whole display of Milner broken to pieces, well, it didn't really show it, but from the previews, we kind of assumed that that's what turned her into Thor. She just kind of shows up in a battle later as Lady Thor with Milner put together. And yeah, and it was a whole reunion scene. I guess they haven't seen each other for 8 years. I kind of guess she was blipped, snapped out of the picture during that whole Thanos saga, because I mean that's probably 5 years right there, and it's been a couple years since they've seen each other. So that whole reunion was cool and all that. We did see Milner do some cool shit, breaks into pieces, come back, kill a bunch of people and shit like that. But shit, man, there's a lot of killing in this movie for kids. There's a lot of kids in the theater. And this movie was obviously made for kids with all the kiddie humor they had in it. They had one thing I didn't like though is towards the end when they had to fight the ultimate bad guy. They had, I don't know, they had Thor enchanted kids with his power temporarily to go out there and fight a whole bunch of like big ass shadow monsters, but the kids ain't never fought a day in their life, which was fucking wild as hell. And for us to believe this is supposed to be a serious ass MCU movie, you're gonna enchant these little ass kids to go fight a battle so you can go fight the big boss. That shit was unbelievable and kind of cheesy at the same time. It had some cheesy humor. Like I said, the goats jumping in screaming was kind of cheesy after a while. I did enjoy it. Was hella funny at the beginning when he did that Van Damme splits to keep the two Striders apart, and he jumps in the air and they go together to blow him up. I did think it was kind of funny, but it was kind of weird. I didn't know his like Milner and Stormbreaker were hella sentient. So the whole trope of him getting Stormbreaker getting jealous whenever he saw Milner and was getting jealous of Jane having Milner and him wanting Milner back. He just Stormbreaker would do something to kind of fuck up his actions or fuck him up in general. I don't know. Stormbreaker's fucking massive, by the way. I don't know how the hell he'd be carrying that around and just having it fly through the air to his hands in in no regard for people's lives at all. He's flying past people's faces, almost cutting it in half and shit like that. That boy don't play. But ultimately, man, it was a cool movie. Towards the end, again, he gets to eternity. Gore ends up getting to where he actually wants to be to make his wish. He wants to kill all gods. That's why he's the God Butcher. That was the ultimate goal in the whole movie, was to kill all gods. So they were trying to stop him from getting there, because if he wishes all gods to be dead, Thor will die, every god will die. We saw Zeus again. Russell Crowe was Zeus, and he did a great job being Zeus. Very funny. He wasn't the super macho Zeus that's portrayed in Norse mythology at all. He was like a more kind of fat, funny Zeus that only cared about orgies. He would talk about orgies a lot. That's why I was kind of interested that it was a kids movie. I don't know if it was rated PG-13. It probably was, because they talked about orgies a couple times and they said shit a bunch of times. So I'm sure it's a PG-13 movie, but yeah, it was interesting, man. Especially that scene where they're killing all the god like bodyguards and they're just showering in their blood. It was kind of weird because it was gold, but you saw Valkyrie just kind of standing there showering and bathing in their blood. It was supposed to be their blood anyways, but it was just a whole bunch of gold juice that splattering with it. Cut them in the neck, cut them in the stomach, and a whole bunch of blood would shoot out, but it was gold. It was weird. And it was weird to me how that they were just slaughtering all these guys, and all the guys that are standing around were supposed to hella respect Zeus, and they didn't even, step up to do shit. I guess when they saw Thor throw his own thunderbolt through his chest, I guess they didn't want none, I guess. But fuck. Towards the end again, once they reach eternity, he makes his wish. And by the end, I guess Thor convinces him not to kill all gods, because not all gods are bad. I don't know how he changed his mind, but really what he wanted was his daughter back. He wished his daughter would be alive. Excuse me. He wished his daughter would be alive. His daughter came back, and that was the one wish he did get. you get a wish for reaching eternity, and that's what you wish for. Somehow she got powers, and at the end of the movie, she vowed to take care. Thor vowed to take care of Gore's daughter, and they're partners now, going out there saving the needy together. And she got powers, he got powers, and again, that was his actual daughter that was playing the role of Love, which is God, Gore, the God Butcher's daughter's name. And yeah, in the end, they ended up fighting together, which was kind of weird. I don't know how she got powers again, but yeah, and it's just crazy because he's the God of Thunder and the girl's name is Love. So they kind of told you what the movie was about and what the ending was going to be about with the title, because Love and Thunder, that's when the real story begins. And that's when they let you know that Thor 5 was coming out. Chris Hemsworth said he'll do this movie as long as they'll have him. He's down to do it forever. And these movies are going to keep on selling. I think they made like 348, maybe even $400 million from this opening. So people still love to see the movie. People still love Taika Waititi. So I don't know if he'll be doing number 5, but people still love the movie. And they, 6.5 is good enough for me to go back and see it again. I really like Thor Ragnarok. So, I'm a Thor fan for sure. You know how I feel about the Hulk, and the Hulk was in Ragnarok. So maybe that's why I'm a little biased to that one. But this is definitely not better than Thor Ragnarok. But yeah, you guys can go see it for yourself. I saw it once. I may see it again just so I can get another grasp. So I know it may come out on Disney Plus hella soon, because I know Multiverse of Madness came out hella soon on Disney Plus. But yeah, that was Love and Thunder, long-winded version and kind of sporadic everywhere with it. But if you guys see the movie, come back to this review and listen again. And you know what I'm talking about, because it was a little much, but it was cool. I know if AKA was on here, he probably wouldn't like it too much. I know he probably thought it was funny. It was really inclusive. They had a lot of shouts out to the LGBT community. Valkyrie was a lesbian in there, so she there's some love talk there. She hasn't found who she's been looking for yet. I think her girlfriend actually died in Ragnarok. She got killed in Asgard or something like that. And then they also talked about how was it Korg species? 2 guys go and hold hands over a volcano, and that's how they create their race of babies. 2 males go and hold hands. So yeah, they do a lot. This movie was showed a lot of inclusivity. They cross the lines that really haven't been crossed in Marvel movies before. Speaking of like orgies and stuff like that, Thor was naked a lot. I don't know why. I don't know if his muscles were super enhanced on there, but that fool is super swole. It was hella funny. He had a back tattoo of Loki. I'm gonna get off this movie. I'm not gonna sit here and talk about it forever, but yeah, go see the movie. Just came out, theaters near you, probably playing in every movie theater still. Yeah. Also, go check out something I really saw recently. I didn't watch it yet, but I am going to watch it. Jamarcus Russell, for all my sports fans out there, you know about Jamarcus Russell. Got drafted #1 to the Raiders. It ended up being a bust, actually. I don't like to say that word because, I know how hard it is to actually make it to the NFL. And to be drafted #1, I know how hard you got to work in college to get to that level. But the media was really hard on him, and people did, celebrities, people that didn't know him while he was drafted, did say he didn't really have the best work ethic in the world. But also they said the Raiders kind of, didn't really give him a chance to succeed, and kind of, didn't put him in position, didn't even want to try to get his head in the right position to succeed, and kind of like, threw him under the bus once it got too hard for him, and everybody kind of felt like he wasn't going to make it. So I'm going to check out the interview. It's I saw some clips of it. He was like, yeah, if you're going to call me a bust, call me the biggest bust. Because, you know what I'm saying, if I'm the #1 draft pick and everybody thinks I'm the biggest bust possible, the biggest bust there ever was in the NFL, I must have been something to be a bust. You know what I'm saying? It's a weird way of looking at it, but he still was a bust. But I think he did get a bunch of money, though, because back then they were still giving out them Sam Bradford contracts to rookies. So he might have got the bag right when he got drafted #1 and signed that contract, and the money, I heard he was like pushing a whole bunch of codeine, Lil Wayne and 2 Chainz said. So I don't know, maybe he's got a bunch of money, flipped that money into something else, and he didn't really want to play football anymore. His mind was focused on making money and doing something else. And he said he ain't the richest man in the world, but believe me, he got enough money for his children and his children's children. So, you know what I'm saying? He's been doing some stuff with his money. He probably got paid by the Raiders when they first drafted him. So Yeah, I mean, he didn't look too down bad. You know what I mean? A lot of these people that actually do come back and tell their stories, sometimes they look like they went broke or they have a story to tell because they want to sell something. This story is actually pretty interesting. Just seeing Jamarcus Russell and just seeing where he is in his life now. I'm just seeing everybody talking about him back in the day, and to see him actually speak and get to stand up for himself. We did see Kwame Brown do this a little bit ago. I don't know if he's gonna go off like that. But I mean, these media heads have been getting it back from these athletes in the past and of current, that they didn't, about stuff they didn't respect that they said back in the day, or they may have said recently. So I'm interested to see. So on Pivot Podcast with Ryan Clark, I'll put it on the Instagram as well. So you know what I'm saying, if you're with me on the Instagram, you know what it is already. Let's move on a little bit here. What else we got next? I got a couple of things. Let me take a little break real quick. I'm gonna take a commercial break real quick. You guys go get you a snack because I got plenty more bias to come. A couple more topics here that we can get up out of here. But yeah, let me check on these dogs real quick. But it's the Best of Bias podcast. It's your boy Lydell Dinero, long-winded Dinero. Might as well call me on these solo podcasts. But yeah, it's the Best of Bias podcast, and I'll be back. It's right. I'll be back. I'll be back.
Mama hit my line if she really wanna fuck with me now, cause I'm on. I tell lil' mama hit my line if she really wanna come fuck with me now, cause I'm on. I hear lil' mama make her feel it in her soul. I hear lil' mama make her feel it in her soul. I give her dick and she won't ever leave me alone. I give her dick and she won't never leave me alone.
And we back. Welcome back to the Best of Bias podcast. It's your boy Lydell Dinero. You already know that because I was talking before, bro. You already know. But anyways, we back with some more topics. Let's get into some music, man. Last week, when I, dropped the podcast, I didn't give you guys a review and the breakdown of Brent Fiyaz's new album, Wastelands. I did say I was going to do that in the opening, but I didn't do it, man. Pretty much, I've been slapping the project ever since last week, ever since I heard it, man. I am really impressed with the project. It's really in the lane of Brent Fiyaz. Brent Fiyaz is not for everybody, but if you are a Brent Fiyaz fan, I'm pretty sure he gave you what you expected. A lot of the songs on there I really vibe with. A lot of the singles that he put out, of course, were kind of hits already. So to hear these new songs on here, the skits weren't for me. A lot of people like the skits, but I like more songs than skits. I get the skits for the whole concept of the album and the whole idea of trying to get across what the album is about and the whole aesthetic of it. But I want more slaps, you know what I mean? I enjoy the music a lot. Some of my favorite songs, of course, All Mine. I like the single he put out. Of course, I like Wasting Time with Drake from before. I definitely liked the single he put out. I said that already, but I can't find it. Where it's called? Oh, Price of Fame. Price of Fame was one of my favorites from the singles that he put out. Jackie Brown is one of my favorites from the album. Role Models, I like Rolling Stone, FYTB. Yeah, I pretty much like the whole album, honestly. It's a good one. If you have more, oh shoot, I almost played that shit. If you have more than 7 songs on your album, for me, that's all it takes for you to give me, classify an album with 19 songs. And I enjoy pretty much more than 7 of them. I'll play, from All Mine straight down. Of course, I'm skipping the intro, the skits and stuff, but the album was dope, man. I think it sold from 115 to about 200,000 copies in its first week accumulatively. I don't know the numbers for sure, of course, because I ain't checking for it like that. Me personally, it doesn't matter how much an album sells. If I enjoy it, then I enjoy it. Me personally, now, it's just kind of harder for an album even to last more than a couple of weeks. So if your album has replay value, for me, that's an accomplishment altogether. But we do see that the album is doing work. We see a lot of videos going around how he did a little tour, and he was able to promote the album a lot. Atlanta, LA, a lot of the bigger cities. He had a big turning. He does have a cult following, I would think. I don't know. I mean, he kind of came out of nowhere, honestly. He came out popping from Crew with Gold Link. The whole chorus went kind of crazy. So everybody was actually able to hear his talent from there, and it kind of expanded. He had a bunch of EPs and kind of shorter albums. Last year he did put out an album, I think it was called Fuck the World. It was pretty cool. Had a couple songs on there that I dug. In this project, he hyped it up a lot. His whole thing was "Forgive me for how I am or who I become after this album drops." You know what I mean? And I think it was a really good showcase of his talents, his musical range. The song Ghetto Gatsby itself, I just think if you think of Great Gatsby, you think of like instruments and a whole like orchestration of a whole bunch of instruments. So if you listen to the song, you really do get that feel. And then it brings the whole Brent Fiyaz kind of like unorthodox kind of songwriting style into it. So I mean, it's really cool. Check it out. Enjoy it. I enjoy it. It's just my bias. If you don't like it, if it's not for you, it's not your type of R&B, I understand. It's just something I've been slapping, and I like to give you guys what I'm listening to. And of course, that Chris Brown Deluxe dropped. It wasn't really promoted. I guess he is still shadow banned as well. He came out and did kind of voice his displeasure for his album and his music not being as promoted as as some of the negative stuff he does. He's like, hey, you guys come out and jump on everything that you hear about me that's negative, but when I have some music dropping or I have something positive going on, you guys just kind of blatantly ignore it and just kind of go out of your way to not play it or post it on any of your platforms. I think he had a case where even at midnight, if you're trying to buy the album, I don't know if it was for like streaming on Apple Music, but I think if you try to purchase the song straight off of Apple, it wasn't available at midnight. That's what I heard on the Joe Budden podcast. Don't quote me, but I think that's what he said. And I think they do have something against him from the old stuff in the past, or he's being shadow banned for a reason. That I don't know. It's unbeknownst to me. I thought Chris Brown was still one of the biggest artists in the world, and every time he did something, it kind of got put out there to the extent that he didn't have to promote shit itself because everybody knew about it, and it kind of promoted itself on some Beyonce type shit. But I'm not saying he's on the same level as Beyonce or nothing like that. But you know what I'm saying? When you reach a certain level of stardom, even hearing that you're dropping an album, you know what I mean, is enough in itself for your fan base to pick it up and people just to run with it. But he does have a gripe, which led T-Pain to say on a conversation with DJ Academics that he had a queen mentality or some shit like that. He had a queen complex to where he's like the hot girl at the party that he's used to everybody saying that you're super cute, you're doing the best, you're doing everything hella well. In that moment that nobody supports it, he's like, nobody supports me and everybody's against me. After listening to the conversation a little more in depth, they could have did the whole media trick on me where they took a snippet of what he said and kind of like tried to post it to where sound like he was trying to blast Chris Brown. But I think they might be homies, you know what I'm saying? I know they worked together in the past. I don't know if their, bridges were burned or anything like that. But I do feel like he was joking. T-Pain is a jokey joke guy. But he did say some crazy shit. I think that's all the albums I have to talk about. Oh, yeah. Lil Uzi, he's going to drop an EP. I guess his Pink album is not coming out as of yet. But he did drop a little art on his Instagram saying that he does have a project coming soon, an EP before that album comes out. So expect music from Lil Uzi coming out real soon. If you're a Lil Uzi fan, there's some Lil Uzi on the way. I liked Lil Uzi a lot when he first came out. I will say I'm still a fan, but a lot of his newer stuff I didn't really grasp onto too much. So I'm expecting this new album to be pretty dope, man. I like Lil Uzi, so I'm hoping. His hair is crazy now. And his tattoos are crazy. It's not as far as like not being bad crazy, but they're dope. It's like you'd have to see it on his Instagram. It's blasted all over there. But last little announcement before I get into what T-Pain said about Tupac, which is crazy. But Drake did announce that I remember I posted on my Instagram again. Check those stories, man. So if you check those stories, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. But he did post that he had a big announcement coming out on Wednesday. He announced it while he was winning $12 million in roulette. This man either has a gambling problem or he's the luckiest man in the world because he be winning multi-million dollars in bets. At least they be showing it to us on Instagram like he be winning all the time. Either it's hella fake and they just trying to promote people to get to gamble, get on those roulette internet chats, whatever he be doing to win that money, or he really be winning like that. But he did announce that he is taking the OVO Fest on the road. OVO Fest is notably festival that Drake puts on in Canada. And it's like a lot of the biggest artists, him, and he brings a lot of guests out there. It's a lot of Canadian artists, Lil Wayne, Young Money usually are out there as well. He announced that they're taking it on tour. So not only will it be in Toronto, or not in Toronto, just I think it's in Ontario, in Canada, it's going to be going on the road. So I'm sure it's going to be in LA, maybe in Vegas, some big venues around the country. So that's a big announcement. It's going to be Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj. It's going to be a little Young Money reunion. It's Canadian All-Stars. I don't really know who that's going to be, but of course it's going to be OVO and Drake. So, you know, Lil Baby, I think is going to be there too. They're on, yeah, it's going to be something big. So as the tour dates get announced, I'm sure I'll talk about it a little bit more, and I'll post it on the Instagram. Follow that as well if you try to get tickets to that. If you're trying to go to the one in Canada, that shit's on July 29th through the 1st of August. So if you're trying to get out there to Canada, go check that shit out. Back to T-Pain though. During that conversation with Academics, DJ Academics, I don't know if he's a DJ anymore. I think he might just be named Academics. T-Pain was saying that if Tupac was alive now, that lyrically he would get ate up, and also that he would have died a lot sooner because of the stuff that he was saying during his raps. So first and foremost, the whole he would have died sooner, I don't know anything about that. He was kind of out there with his political beliefs, and as far as like, you know, his family being parts of the Black Panther stuff, governmentally, maybe that's what they're talking about. And some of the shit he would have went against with like police brutality and shit like that. Maybe that's what he's talking about in that aspect. But as far as being ate up lyrically, I don't know if I could say ate up. You know what I mean? I feel like there are lyricists that are better than Tupac was back when he was alive. But I'm not gonna get blasphemous to say that he would get ate up. I think he'd be able to adapt as well, and I think that he'd be able to, you know, fit in with everybody else. He wouldn't be somebody that's not a good rapper, first and foremost. Don't get me wrong, because there's those rappers that are not good rappers at all, that are out there that are trash. And even if he wasn't a lyricist, he can make a song. He can make a song. He had a bunch of hits. We all know that. And he can put together a song. He can write verses hella fast. He famously had notebooks and notebooks of verses that he could write in like seconds. I don't know if it's seconds, but hella fast, and have songs for days. He had a whole bunch of I don't know how do you say it, posthumous albums after he died. So he, you know, his pen game was crazy. I mean, he may not have been super metaphor-y like Lil Wayne or anybody like that, but he was able to rhyme shit and tell stories, and that's a talent in its own. So I don't know, maybe he was just trying to get some shock value out of it, but ate up, you know what I mean? Half the rappers in the game aren't really lyrical, spiritual anyways, you know what I'm saying? Some of them just kind of like know how to ride a beat, and the producers do half the work anyways. So it's like, for him to say that he would get ate up, I think being able to make a song, and T-Pain knows a lot about this, so I mean, shit. I could be wrong, and I could be in the wrong lane talking out of turn or whatever. But I do feel like Tupac would have been able to make enough songs, to make good enough songs to hang with anybody. I mean, do you think Tupac wouldn't be able to be as popular as the Migos? Do you think the Migos have way more bars than Tupac has? I would not say so. The rapping style, I think if Tupac wanted to rap like that, he could rap like that all day. You know what I'm saying? No diss to the Migos, but you got to put some respect on Tupac's name as well. He wasn't no bum. You know, people have him as one of their top rappers for a reason. He's not one of my favorite rappers, or top one or two, like a lot of people put him on. But the people that were there, they know. And people that are involved in the rap game now, they could be biased because of the old school styles and shit like that. But people aren't saying that he's their favorite rapper for no reason. I know, Ate Up is wild. And the whole died sooner than he would have, you know, he would have died sooner. That's wild, man. I'm gonna have to listen to that interview, man, because I could be just jumping to conclusions and thinking T-Pain's tripping. But the whole Chris Brown thing, I think it was a joke. I think he was playing about that. But the Tupac thing, man, I don't know. I guess playing with these like passed away stars' names or something to do in the pop, you know, in the media right now to get popularity. Ryan Clark again was talking about how Chris Brown was more talented than Michael Jackson, and then you got Tupac would get ate up by lyrical rappers nowadays. I mean, does he mean battles? Like, shit, nobody battles anymore. Even the biggest stars out here don't battle rap. So it's like, what do you mean, T-Pain? What do you mean? I guess that's why I got to listen to the conversation. and not just get tricked by these media clips. You know what I'm saying? If this is a clip right now, you might have got tricked by what I said too, but hey, I'm just going by what I'm trying to understand. He said it, not me. You know what I mean? There's a lot of crazy shit going on out there today. And yeah, I don't know. Doja Cat, let's wrap it up with this story here because this is interesting to me. Doja Cat, one of my favorite artists, entertainers right now, just from her work alone. She's super funny, super talented. Her range in the songs that she makes is crazy. Her stage presence is crazy. That alone, stage presence, because I mean, I don't know. I've done a couple of like low scale shows, nothing compared to these stars nowadays, but shoot, your nerves, your butterflies, all that shit is on 10. And for her to go out there and be up performing the way she does, she just owns the stage. Every time I see her perform, any outfit she's wearing, she kills it, no matter how silly it is. She owns her personality, you know what I'm saying? She don't let nobody get her out of her zone. But hearing this story, it's kind of crazy to me because I thought she could do no wrong in the public eye right now. She was everybody's favorite star. And she got herself in a little trouble with some fans. I guess she ended up DMing one of the Stranger Things stars. His name was Noah Schnapp. He played Will in Stranger Things for all my Stranger Things people out there. She hit him up trying to get the number of actor Joseph Quinn, who played Eddie in season 5. Season 4? Season 4, yeah, season 4. If you guys saw this season, you know Eddie was the leader of the Hellfire Club, the whole Dungeons and Dragons little club. I'm hella congested. I don't know if you guys can hear that right now. I don't know where it came from, but I'm hella congested. But yeah, she tried to get his number, try to holla at him, try to slide into his DMs, you know, I guess get his number and try to holla at him. But Noah, being a young boy, you know what I'm saying, young Will, posted the private DM on Instagram for everybody to see. And she didn't like that too much. I mean, she was trying to get, you know, homie's number on the low. And young Will went out there and spilled the beans. So she put on Instagram, I think it was Instagram or Twitter, one of these, and said that he was a weasel or a snake or something of that nature. And the public didn't like that. They take their Stranger Things stars really serious, you know what I mean? So they hopped on her. She saw a bunch of backlash, a bunch of negative comments talking about how she shouldn't be coming at Will like that, young Noah. And she actually lost 200,000 fans. I don't really know. I mean, I'm sure these stars, this is how they make their money. So they'll notice 200,000 fans, losing that many fans. And Noah actually gained 1 million fans from this whole ordeal. So it's kind of crazy how something so small can turn into something so big when you're somebody of this stature, you know what I mean? And again, that teaches you, don't come for these Stranger Things boys, because you mess with the Stranger Things clique, they coming for you. 200,000 followers, you know what I'm saying? If you try to put that monetarily, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure that's got a couple thousand. She may have lost a couple bands in as far as click, you know, and all the ratios that go into her Instagram, you know what I'm saying, into her shit. But Noah, I'm sure he's happy to get the 1 million followers. God damn, 1 million? 1 million. Maybe he just, I don't understand that. So, hey, Doja Cat, call me a snake. Call me a weasel real quick so I can get me 1 million. Because I'll appreciate that shit. Give you a little blue checky. Get the blue best of bias out there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I thought that was kind of funny, man, because Doja Cat, man, she's on a rise right now. I thought she could do no wrong. And I'm sure this is just a little funny little snafu right here. But I just thought it was kind of interesting that she would lose 200,000 followers over. Yeah, I mean, a snake, a weasel. At least she didn't call him a bitch. She didn't call him a motherfucker. You know, the old P word, didn't call the ussy pay. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's all fan, you know, it's all love and however the saying goes. But yeah, man, that's all I got for you guys today. It's part of the episode where I like to let you guys know where you can find me at. SAC_Lydell on the Instagram, Patrick_Lydell on the Snapchat. If you're looking for the podcast, you can find me everywhere, bro. Just type in Best of Bias Podcast. If you type it on the YouTube, you'll find me, you'll see me popped up on the screen like this. If you type in, you know what I'm saying, bestofbias.com, you won't find nothing yet. Goddamn. I'm sorry. I just want to have a pristine website for you guys. You know what I'm saying? But the merch you can find all over the place. Just hit me up on the Instagram. DM me for inquiries. Hit me up on the YouTube. I'll holla at you, and you can just let me know what size you need in the hats, what color you need in the hats. I got dad hats, buckets, trucker hats, beanies. You know what I'm saying? T-shirts coming shit, probably by next month I'll have the t-shirts. Y'all saw the image. The t-shirts are gonna be sick. We're gonna try to get AKA back on here, man. It's been a while. It's been kind of hectic. Him and you know what I'm saying, your girl's favorite pizza boy. He'll be on here soon. Johnny Mac still healing up from that arm injury, but he'll be on here soon. Jen was supposed to be on here last week, but I kind of flaked on her. I'm sorry. Sorry, Jen. But we'll have some more guests on here for y'all soon. I know. I told y'all it wouldn't be me. This is 3 weeks in a row. Ever since we got back from Aruba, we've been in a little lull. It's just been me. But I've been giving y'all good information. You know what I'm saying? If you guys want to follow along again, check the Instagram. I'm there posting every day, posting stuff that's going to be in the podcast. It's going to be in the episode. I'm drawing a lot of stuff from there, just kind of preparing you guys. If you guys want to check out the trailers and stuff like that, check out the articles and stuff just before. So you guys can be ingratiated and kind of, that's my favorite word, ingratiated. So you guys can already know what's going on. You guys can be up on the topics and you guys cannot be like just kind of left to left field and not know what's going on. Go Braves, of course. It's almost football season. Holla at me if you guys need some advice for fantasy, because you know what I do. Shit, again, merch is out there. I talked about that. Could get you some beautiful struggle merch as well. Family full of hustlers, you know what I'm saying? We all got brands out here trying to push we pushing P, pushing a lot of M too, pushing merchandise. So yeah, if you need some, they got hats too, workout gear, shirts, leggings, booty bands. You're trying to get fit for the summer, get that summer body right. Beautifulstruggle.com. Check all of it out, you know, get the family involved. And also hit up AKA, man, on Instagram. Hit him up on the YouTube as well. Send some we miss you messages out there to get him back on the pod. Check out PC's music. You already know him and Pretty Ugly out there dropping bars, still available wherever you find your favorite music. You know what I'm saying? I think Apple Music, SoundCloud, AKA did say he set up the SoundCloud and all that shit too. Shout out Sabrina, shout out Oregon. You know what I'm saying? We making moves out here. Shout out all of my favorite sports teams. You know what I'm saying? Shout out me. And shout out y'all, my beautiful Best of Bias family, man. I guess that's the end of the podcast. So where my theme song at? It's right here. All right then, beautiful people.
It's the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to Unitas. It's the best of bias. Your best of bias. Yeah, it's the best of bias.